Hey guys, welcome back. Today I want to talk about something for most of us why we have the day off today, and that's Labor Day. Now, to a majority of Americans, that just means it's kind of the unofficial end of summer. We get back into our school routines, our work routines, and the holiday itself has really a deeper meaning, and it's kind of gruesome at some points too. The idea for Labor Day came at a really tough time in American history as far as the overall working conditions for people at that time. See, back then, most of the power in the labor division between the workers and the employers lay all with the employers. There was towns that were just set up just for the company, to work for the company. You moved to this town, you worked for the company. And that's the way it kind of was back then. With all that power lying to one side, there was you were working mandatory 12-hour days. You were looking at child labor. There was kids as young as 5 and working in the workplace. This is when unions come along, and it was one of those unions, the Central Labor Union of New York, who set up the first Labor Day, and that was in September 5th, 1882. About 10,000 workers took unpaid time off that day to march from City Hall down to Union Square, where they all gathered at the end and had picnic and music and everything like that to celebrate the labor movement. And just 3 years later, that actually became a citywide holiday, and then it spread across the United States. And by 1894, just 12 years later, 34 states had adopted Labor Day as an official holiday. And the reason I choose that date is because it's the year of the Pullman labor strikes. And the Pullman labor strikes were some of the bloodiest labor strikes of that time, and this is a time when labor strikes often turned bloody. On May 11th, 1894, wage cuts hit about 4,000 employees of the Pullman car, who made railway cars you could sleep in, and that was George Pullman's invention. And so he founded a town in Illinois where this all happened, and it was one of those towns where you went to work for Pullman. Everybody worked for Pullman, and they paid. Nobody owned a house. The company owned the house. You had no recourse against the company because if you lost your job, you lost everything. But even against those odds, 4,000 of the workers took to the streets and started to protest against Pullman. With the backing of the American Railway Union, it went even further. Engineers wouldn't pull Pullman cars. They would strike in support of the Pullman workers. So all in all, this ended up encompassing like 255,000 workers and brought the railway system in the United States to a halt. And riots broke out in several cities, prompting President Grover Cleveland to actually bring in the U.S. Army to break up the riots and to restore order. But after the Pullman riots, President Cleveland urged Congress to enact Labor Day as a gesture to the labor movement. And on June 28, 1894, he signed into law Labor Day, which would be the first Monday in September. And of course, all of this has been left behind. We really don't think about it much anymore. We just think about the time off and whatever. But as you're going out to your picnic today or, your barbecue, just take a minute to remind yourself what the American worker went through and what it really means that we have the living conditions we have today, that we can take a day off, that we are celebrating the struggles that the American worker went through in the late 1800s. But that's all I kind of wanted to go through today. Just a little history lesson, just a little fun, just to know why we do what we do. And it's kind of neat. But of course, I've been Richard Howk. I'm still Richard Howk. And I've got a picnic to get to. We'll see y'all later.
You guys didn't actually think I'd let you go without giving you another chance to get 10 entries into the contest, did you? Of course not. For the extra entries into this contest, tell me what you did for your Labor Day. Put that in the comments below and there's 10 extra entries into the contest. Simple as that. Y'all have a great day.